What about drawing? What about drawing? About drawing. Understand the shapes and passes. Understand the shapes and passes. Drawing in Adobe Photoshop involves creating vector shapes and passes. And in Photoshop you can draw with any of the shape tools, by the way, and the pen tool or the Freeform Pen tool. And options for each tool are available, by the way, in the options bar. And before you begin drawing in Photoshop, you must choose a drawing mode from the options bar. And the mode you choose to draw determines whether you create a vector shape on its own layer and a work path on an existing layer, or a resized shape on an existing layer. And vector shapes, by the way, are lines and curves you draw using the shape or pen tools. And vector shapes are resolution independent. They maintain crisp edges when resized and printed to a PostScript printer and saved in a PDF file or imported into a vector-based graphics application. And you can also create libraries of custom shapes and edit a shape's outline and call the path and attributes such as stroke and fill color and style. And passes, by the way, are outlines that you can turn into selections or fill and stroke with color. And you can easily change the shape of a pass by editing its anchor points. And a work pass is a temporary pass that appears in the passes panel and defines the outline of a shape. And you can use passes in several ways, by the way. You can use a pass as a vector mask to hide areas of a layer, and also you can convert a pass to a selection, and you can fill or stroke a pass with color, and designate a saved pass as a clipping pass to make part of an image transparent when exporting the image to a page layout or vector editing application, by the way. So what about drawing modes? Drawing modes is meaning when you work with the shape or pen tools, you can draw in 3 different modes, by the way. You can choose a mode by selecting an icon in the options bar when you have a shape or pen tool selected. And what about shape layers? Shape layers is meaning creates a shape on a separate layer, by the way, and you can use either the shape tools or the pen tool to create shape layers. And because they are easily moved, resized and aligned and distributed, shape layers are ideal for making graphics for web pages. And you can also choose to draw multiple shapes on a layer. And a shape layer, by the way, consists of a fill layer that defines the shape color and a linked vector mask that defines the shape outline. And this outline of a shape is a path which appears in the passes panel, by the way. And what about paths? Paths is meaning you can draw a work path on the current layer that you can then use to make a selection and then create a vector mask or fill and stroke with color to create raster graphics, much as you would using a painting tool. And the work path is temporary unless you save it, and the passes appear in the passes panel. So what about fill pixels? Fill pixels is meaning paints directly on a layer, and much as a painting tool does. And when you work in this mode, you are creating raster images, by the way, and not vector graphics. And you work with the shapes you paint just as you do with any raster image, and only the shape tools work in this mode. Like this image now, this screenshot now appear for you and explain everything about drawing options. A is meaning shape layers, and B passes, and C is fill pixels.